This one I think can be tricky, but I think it can also be something that we overthink. And I think one thing, or what I wanted to start out as far as prospecting is, um, I think sometimes we get anxious about asking people into our business, but I think also we have to think about it's also people that we're asking that we want into our business too. So I think we can think of it as um, we're serving and we're trying to help people, but we also can choose, who we'd like to be in this business too. So anyways, I don't, like if, for me, I think, you're kind of trying to just find anyone that'll come and join you. But I think in reality, if we really kind of, pay attention to who we're actually prospecting, then the choices and the people that we bring into our team can be a little bit more effective and efficient. So, okay. So I just numbered a few things as far as prospecting, and I want to share with everybody. I went to Beth Gallardi's site and looked up prospecting. I put some of my own ideas down, but much of them were very similar. So she has a PowerPoint on there. So all this information can be found somewhere, can be found there too. Okay, so number one, I really felt like I started doing my best prospecting when I became a good listener. And I remember Carlita saying, you have to open your ears so you can actually speak to what the people you're talking to need, right? So if we're not good listeners and we're not really hearing how this business is going to help somebody, then we're merely just putting our thoughts into what we think or why they would be a good person for the business. And really we need them to come to the realization of why this business would be good for them. So being a really good listener, and along with that is, as you're listening, be present. So you're actually there in the moment. That's one of my numbers too, is you really give them your attention. Your phone is not out and about, and if it does have to be out because of your kids or whatnot, maybe let them know that, my kids are in school. If I get a call, let them know that, so they don't think that you're just staring at your phone or texting in on things that aren't important. So I think giving them like your full attention and having all the distractions aside is very helpful. People, it's a respect thing. People think they're being respected, but also being heard. So, and then another point is asking the right questions. I used to get really kind of anxious about meeting somebody because all you're thinking about is, oh, I really want them in my business. I really want them to say yes, blah, 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 blah. And now my point of view is I really just want to go out and meet amazing people. And if this is an option for them, or they're looking for this and they want to say yes, then go from there. Like, I just want to meet good people, connect, make sure that they know that they're being heard, and, like I said, be a good listener. But I'm not necessarily going to one-on-ones going, oh my gosh, hope says yes. I just, I'm just going to try to bring her, hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, I'm stuttering. But so it gives me more of a relaxed approach instead of feeling like I'm going and sitting across the table intense and just thinking about how to bring them into my business versus how can I help them? How do they need to be helped? Can I serve them? Do they need Arbonne? You know what I'm saying? So, and then another thing with prospecting is just really to be out in life, openly out in life. My hardest thing is prospecting out in life. Like not picking somebody up. That sounds like a cheap date, but meeting somebody at the grocery store, or, I can talk to those people openly, but sometimes it's hard for me to take that next step and ask them if they'd be interested in meeting me for coffee and giving them my business card. But what works really well for me is saying yes to out and about things that people invite me to, especially if they're in new networks. So, there's always, I feel like, something going on, and it's part of the reason why I joined PTA too. It's really getting me into my network at school a little more deeply. So obviously you have to be careful for what you're saying yes as far as committing to. So usually just like an event that is going to be for that night or that day. I'm, trying to limit my commitments because I tend to do that too. We have servant hearts. We want to be involved in all these things. So, but that's how I can be out. Because when you spend a couple hours with people, I feel like that's how I can get to know them and chit chat and get numbers and all that stuff. So that's a really good way just to be out about in life. And then when you're doing that and being out and about in life, like make sure you're going out with being your best self, and being out and about like on social media or, in general. And I don't mean not being true to yourself. We all have bad days, but, being careful of what you say or, who you're saying it to, or just always trying to be a bit of a shining light versus a Debbie Downer. And then let me tell you, like, with my new improved hormones, that can be a real challenge. So I really have to like make sure that I'm intentional about, being out and about with a little bit better of an attitude on some days. Let me see. I have something written really small. Oh, okay. So, and then when you're doing that in the prospecting, also make sure that you're connecting what they're saying. If they're, if you think that they're becoming interested in Arbonne, connect what they're saying in their whys to Arbonne versus what we think we're hearing or what we know about the person, and connecting that to Arbonne. Does that make sense? So really, that's where the good listening comes in, because you really, when you paint a vision or a picture for somebody, you want them to know how they, like, Arbonne's going to be a blessing or a gift, or, answer all the needs that they need in their life, not what we think they need in their life. So, and I think that's really huge, because I think, we can meet somebody and we have this idea, and you're hearing them talk and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, they're this, that, and the other. And then you want to take that and connect it, versus what they're saying. So, but that's not to say don't integrate why you ask them. I think that's huge. Pull the qualities that really stood out for you and why you wanted to invite them for coffee, and why you thought they'd be good at this business. So, and then I would say, I think I talked about, sometimes we try to force the prospecting, and I really think we need to let it come natural. And that comes with part of painting the vision and connecting their whys to why they'd be good at Arbonne, but not trying to force or convince it. Because I think people in our industry will get turned off faster than maybe most. So I think really being careful and mindful of that. And then sometimes too, I think, we can get caught up in, oh, I haven't prospected enough, I really need to bring more onto my team. And we start asking everybody under the sun, instead of really utilizing the questions and the listening to see if we really want those people in our business. Some people, I don't know how to say it. Some people cannot be saved. And I feel like in our business, sometimes we want to gift them because we know they need it, and they truthfully do, but we can't spend our time or all of our energy trying to save them into our business. So hopefully that makes sense. And then finally, if we have people that are yeses, I have definitely not done this right across the board in my 6 years in Arbonne. They all need to be start the same. And that doesn't mean don't hear them, but I really feel like if you have somebody that says yes to our business and you ask them the questions, are they coachable, what time, blah, 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 like they need to do what our recipe is, and then reassess along the way. Because if they never get started truthfully knowing how our business works, then they never will really work the business how it's supposed to be worked. And I can say I've struggled with that. I have struggled with that. I sometimes still struggle with that, working the business how it's supposed to be worked. But if we don't start people that way, they'll never catch the picture of how to be successful. Yeah. So honestly, my goal for prospecting, I really feel like I'm sitting down and interviewing them as well as they're interviewing Arbonne. So I want to bring people in that definitely want this and understand that it does take work. It does take dedication. It doesn't take a ton of time. It doesn't take a ton of knowledge, like we all know. but just doing the simple basic do's. That's what I'm looking for in somebody. And then let me see. And that's across the board. So my notes too, like as far as when I'm doing an event, a one-on-one, or out and about. When I'm prospecting, it's basically the same. I want to get to know that person, hear them, and then try to meet their needs via Arbonne. So, and again, all that information can be found on Beth's page. So, yeah. Anyone have any questions?